Welcome to the Expert Circle, the podcast where we dive deep into the minds of some of the most innovative go to market leaders and entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Deb Dutta, founder and CEO of Kriya AI. Now, for those of you who are new, our podcast is a collection of short 10-minute expert talks with global leaders. Now, the cool thing is we'll take these recordings, feed it into Kriya AI, and instantly turn these into AI-powered microblogs or thought leader blogs with visually consumable sections, making it really easy and quick for you to grasp the key takeaways. In today's episode, we're really thrilled to meet with Kaylin. Kaylin, I'd love for you to share a little bit more. Just introduce yourself to our audience because we can't wait to dive more into like your insights and how you're driving growth in such a competitive landscape.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much, Deb, for having me. As Deb mentioned, my name is Kaylin. I am a co-founder and marketing lead of Seed Through Series. So Seed Through Series is an organization that helps early stage startups from all the way from pre-seed through Series B. And we act as go-to-market partners by aligning sales and marketing strategies and leaning into AI for go-to-market with a real emphasis on driving growth through capital efficiency and profitability. So that's in a nutshell what we do. A little bit more on my background. I have been a marketer for about 20 years. Kind of have a combined experience of working in the agency world for several years. And prior to starting See Through Series, I worked at Google for 9 years as a marketing lead. So lots of different contexts for my experience, and I'm excited to dive in.
Wow, that's really, wealth, 9 years at Google plus agency. I think we have so much to learn from you, Kaylin. I'm excited to dive in. Well, maybe we'll focus a little bit more on like what you're doing today, which is talking to startups and seed and Series A state startups. Could you help us with, kind of what you're seeing? Like, what's your vision for how AI is influencing, go to market for these types of early stage startups, and like how's AI shaping that part of the industry?
Yeah, so I mean, like pretty much every industry and even in people's personal lives, AI is in the past 12 to 18 months has really changed the way that people approach what they're trying to do, right? So, it's as you mentioned before, the market right now is super competitive. There's so many people vying for consumer and customer attention, and there's with the commoditization of tech, right, where people are building things very quickly with the help of AI on the product and development side, and the speed to market is happening faster than ever. It's just very crowded, and so what that means is that go to market is more important than it ever has been before, right? That's the what you need to lean into to really differentiate yourself. And getting a little bit meta on this, go to market AI has become a really powerful way to speed up your time to market, to competitively position, to do hyper personalization at scale. If you have an outbound motion, there's so many contexts where AI can help you do more with less, which is so important in this landscape given the emphasis on capital efficiency and profitability, right?
Absolutely. And thank you. I mean, go to market AI is kind of the space that we dabble in as well. And it's really crazy. I mean, the kind of speed and even like ability to think bold. Like, we're able to be aggressive with some of our goals because of what AI has been able to do for us. So that's incredible. Right. And maybe let's talk a little bit more about kind of your line of work, right? You've been a marketer for so many years, and like you're bringing that expertise through See Through Series. You're a small, outfit that's serving up a large demanding audience base. I'm a seed state startup, so I know how demanding we can be. How are you guys thinking about how's AI impacting your business and like some ways that you guys have embraced AI?
Yeah, I mean, in January of this year, when AI was continuing, like increasingly becoming the thing of the moment. Living in the Bay Area, especially, you feel it all the time. I sat down with my business partner Tiff, and I said, okay, like this is something that's we really need to be paying a lot of attention to and embracing. Let's talk about how AI could put sales and marketing experts out of a job, right? And figure out like what are those where can AI be helpful, and where is it something that like we need to be worried about. And so we did so much deep diving into the tools and the products that are out there. And the net is we've found that AI is a way to keep our company and our team super lean. So we really lean into AI to help us with efficiency first. We don't use it to build strategy for creative ideation, for storytelling and narratives. Like, sometimes it can assist in that way, but really where we're leaning into AI is with those helping with the systems and processes that would normally take a lot of our time. And the way that we kind of approach this is we looked at for our business first before we brought this to any of the clients that we work with. We actually test and implement our AI in our go-to-market first. So we looked at our entire sales and marketing motion, everything from like how are we generating buzz
Mm.
and brand awareness all the way through, closing a new client. And every month we would pick a piece of our motion and figure out what is the best AI tool that we can use to help us with that. And so, by mid-year, we had an AI system in place where, like, we could, because we took the time to understand each tool one by one, we had a system that we understood. We had things that are fully automated. And then we were able to leverage that and capture insights to then inform and optimize our go-to-market. So I think like some of the calls we're very happy customers of Kriya. We leverage Kriya all of the time, especially because we do a lot of events and educational content. And so we use tools like Kriya when we are activating things like events, when we have put out new educational content. We're able to upload those assets quickly, and then it creates like a beautiful landing page that we can then track engagement with. Another really important tool that we use in our outbound motion is Clay. So Clay is a really powerful tool that we leverage to do hyper personalization and differentiated messaging at scale in a hyper targeted way to our ICP. So the sort of like the thing I'm getting to is things like determining your story, determining your value proposition, determining your positioning, and who your ICP should be is not something that we leverage AI to like do fully on its own. But then
Yeah.
when we have our strategy in place, we use these tools to become hyper efficient and create better products, which then create better engagement rate for our customers. So one other way I like to think about how to use AI is we do personal inventories where we look at our day and we look at how we spend time in our day, and then we
Okay.
highlight the things that took too much time, that we just really hated doing, or that were not as effective as they could be. And then we figure out, okay, is there a way that we can use AI to help with one or multiple of those things?
Wow.
So,
How
yeah.
do you guys do that, by the way? And not you have to spend like
Yeah.
is there a tool to do that?
No, it's just like a kind of a personal exercise, right? Where you
Mhm.
just like, I actually do it on paper where I'm like, okay, this I spent, 3 hours today creating content. I
Got it.
spent
Yeah.
4 hours today, like in, CRM doing outreach. Like, how is there a way that I can do this more quickly and more
Mhm.
effectively and more efficiently? So AI is not going to replace sales and marketing leaders any at all. I don't think ever. But what it will do is, with a calm mind being a creative mind, it will help declutter the noise so that you've got a really effective system in place that's kind of operating on its own. So you have the headspace to think more creatively, to think about like what you want to be testing next, and really drive innovation that way. So I think it's an incredible time to be a go-to-market leader, and it's especially for startups where capital efficiency and profitability are so important. It's really important for founders and revenue leaders in early stage startups to be figuring out how to leverage AI.
It's fantastic. One is what I took away is aside from, the obvious, the tools and so on, I think going back to the fundamentals, you still have to, AI doesn't replace your fundamentals, like knowing your ICP, having your strategy in place, having systems in place. Those are non-replaceable. That is what gets you into that repeatable, into a motion where you can have repeatability and actually grow the business. And you're leveraging AI in places where you know that these motions can be automated to an extent, so that you have the headspace to focus on what AI cannot do. So
Yeah.
if I were to just kind of like take this into like summarize, let's say for like the Series A and seed stage founders, like what do you feel like they should focus on? Like what benefits of AI should they be focusing on to automate their like day-to-day operations and like think about their long-term goals?
Yeah, I think one thing that AI, at that stage of your business, having a real-time pulse on your customers and the feedback that they're driving, because you're still in a phase where you're trying to figure out if you've got product market fit, most likely, right? So what I would say is one of the most important things at the pre-seed and seed stage is to have a way to be able to have that real-time feedback loop with what's happening with your customers and customer engagement. So if you have a B2B motion that's sales led, as opposed to product led growth, there's tools out there like Gong, for example, that can, they're basically a sales intelligence tool that will listen to, transcribe, and provide insights about all your calls. Like, I know as a really busy founder, you're not going to remember all of the details
Yeah.
of every customer conversation you have. You're not going to be able to necessarily pattern match the way that AI can to give you those like really strong insights. So I think that's one really powerful way as you're still in that sort of discovery phase and innovation phase and ideation phase of your business, and things are changing and pivoting. AI can be sort of an anchor for you to be gut checking all of these decisions that you're making on a day-to-day basis, right?
Excellent. And I love it. It's very pointed, right? Like we're not trying to bloat the value of like where all AI can be applied based on the stage of the business. There's different ways to apply it. So super helpful, Kaylin. I wanted, well, like AI has been awesome. Like we live and breathe, and it serves so much of what we do. But I mean, AI is powerful, but it's not without its challenges, right? So either in your line of work or your advice to founders, like what are some pitfalls or limitations that you are experiencing, and how would you recommend we think about these pitfalls and like make sure that we're cautious about utilizing AI in our workflow?
Yeah, there are two main things, and again, they're very simple and maybe obvious, like once you say them out loud. But I think people tend to get caught up and don't necessarily take a step back to think about this. But number one is whenever you're using any AI to do anything that's like a creative output, whether that's a piece of content, whether that's an email, whether that's a landing environment, whatever it is, you have to have human intervention. You have to check it. Like I hosted an event this week and was leveraging AI to create some social media content around it, and it did not matter how many times I gave ChatGPT the Luma page, it kept saying the event was on 12/6 when in actuality it was on 12/12, right? So like there are certain things that like it's not perfect by any means. AI like hallucinates. So that's one thing. The other thing I will say is you want to make sure that you're picking the right tools that are right for your stage of business, right? So like even a lot of AI companies will say like, oh yeah, like we serve the startup community and we serve enterprise, but like a lot of times there's just for startups there's too many bells and whistles. Maybe it doesn't have the same customer support that you need. So you've got to pick tools that are actually serving you as a
Yeah.
founder or a revenue leader in a small, fast growth organization. And then the other thing I'll say is make sure that when you're implementing new AI tools or products that they're set up to work with your existing systems, right? So in your existing tech stack. So it can get very easy to have all these disparate tools that don't talk to each other. So I always try to optimize for things that have integrations with HubSpot, for example, or
Yeah.
things that I use. So those are just a couple things to keep in mind when you're thinking about automating some of your go-to-market.
Totally amazing, and thank you. As a founder, there's you obviously are trying to optimize as much as possible, but then like having some pointed advice for that is a really helpful. So I'll close with this. What advice would you have, like AI in the future, right? Like we have these pitfalls today, we have these benefits today, but what's your advice for those who are looking to integrate AI into their work? Like there is still a lot of hesitation. There are still leaders we meet who don't mind openly saying, I don't use AI.
Hmm.
So how, what trends do you feel we should keep in mind, so that people are starting to embrace AI? What does the future look like?
I mean, I think the as a marketer, the most important thing I always think of is go back to what your customers are doing and how they're behaving. The reality is your customers are starting to consume AI more and more. It's where they go to get the best information, right? If they're the Google search is starting to decline with the
Yeah.
onset of AI tools, right? To actually discover information.
Yeah.
There will be a way for marketers in the future to capitalize on that. I don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but it will come. So
Yeah.
paying attention to the way where your customers are researching, where they're finding information is going to be really important on that front. Um, and the other thing is I had another thought. Yeah, okay. The other thing is like there's on the actual like go to market motion front, it's there's never going to be a time. I actually have a very good friend and colleague of mine who talked about this last night at the panel I was on, and he is also a founder of a go to market AI tool that does um, sales intelligence and prospecting and playbook creation. And he firmly believed that people promise things like SDRs are going to be fully automated, and sales teams are going to be fully automated, and marketing can be fully automated. It's never going to be fully automated, but if you don't embrace AI as the tool to help you with that, you're going to be falling far behind. And as a founder, I would highly recommend, if you're looking to hire an agency, or you're looking to bring an in-house marketing or sales leader in the house, one of the most important things you should be asking them is what is their perspective on AI and how do they plan to use it? Because it's certainly something that's not going to be going away. And so the sooner you can embrace it, the better. And you're going to see better returns on your efforts if you do.
Totally. So what we're saying is we want to be prepared for and thinking about our hiring with AI forward leaders, right? Have an open mind
Absolutely.
to start not just embracing yourself, but also being able to educate your teams to embrace this.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kaylin. This has been incredible. It's like seriously for sharing such rich, valuable insights with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Not just this conversation, but in our experiences, I've learned so much from you, and like part of so much of your feedback has helped guide Kriya's roadmap, and I hope it will continue to. So again, before we wrap up, it's again like I said, like one of the cool things with Kriya AI, we will be taking this podcast transcript, feeding it into Kriya, and generate an entire thought leader blog that talks very specifically about all the things that Kaylin mentioned. If you guys have time to listen to the entire video, please do. But otherwise, please take a read of the content we'll produce. And again, thank you so much for joining us, Kaylin, and really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Deb. It's been a pleasure as always.